Welcome to Beyond the Next Chapter, a podcast where we love books, we love reading, and we really love to share our love of reading. So we have the perfect guest this week who loves doing that. We're talking about Loving Library, which was founded by Anik when he was just 8 years old. He lives here in the Valley. He's joining us this morning along with his mom and his brother, who's also an ambassador for Loving Library. Welcome. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for having us.
So I heard about you guys a couple years ago. You were a guest on our morning show. Let's talk about Loving Library. What is Loving Library?
Loving Library is a kid-founded nonprofit that donates books to kids in need, and our main mission is for kids helping other kids.
You started this when you were 8 years old. You are 12 now. What has it been like in the last few years to see this effort really grow?
Well, I mean, it's been amazing. Like, my heart just grows bigger every single time a chapter is made, and, like, I know that I'm helping people in need, and I just love that feeling.
How many chapters do you have? Like, how many books have you collected? How has it been going the last few years?
So we have over 15 chapters and over 15,000 books and over 20 youth ambassadors.
Wow. Your brother is an ambassador. What is it like for you to be part of this as well?
Well, it's pretty amazing because, like, when I think about this, I was there from the start, and I just remember on his birthday, I was like 6 at the time, so I was young, I didn't understand anything. And he was like, for my birthday gift, I would like start a nonprofit, and that's really where my life changed.
So you started this for your 8th birthday. Why was it important for you to start Loving Library? How did you get this idea?
So in 2020, my grandma got COVID and she was in the hospital. So it was during the pandemic, so none of her friends could visit her, and she only had her phone. She was in a hospital room with nothing to do. I FaceTimed her every single day, and I saw that she just couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
At that time, we were also in isolation, so I could not see any of my friends, go out to eat, I could not do any activity. Even there was even online schooling. So I read books to pass my time. During that pandemic, I really loved the comedy genre, so I read, my favorite book at that time was Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And then I thought patients like my grandma could read books to pass their time at the hospital. So after that, I reached out to Mayor Kate, the mayor of Phoenix, and asked her which hospital needed the most help. She said Valley Wise Health, and that's our first chapter of Loving Library began. We've donated over 1,000 books to Valley Wise Health in that chapter.
Wow. Was it hard how did you get all the books for the donations? Was it hard to collect them?
Well, you want to answer it, John? Do you want
That's why I was like, oh, I don't know that one. I was like, oh, don't ask me.
So we had an Amazon wish list, so people could add books to the Amazon wish list, or they could just donate books to our house, and we would take it to Valley Wise Health and deliver it to the nurses. And one day when I was delivering it, I heard a nurse say that one of the patients cried because they knew an 8-year-old was donating books to them.
So you heard this woman was so emotional, she was crying when she got a book. I mean, what did that feel like?
Well, that just made me want to do Loving Library more. That made me want to donate more books and keep going with more chapters and more, and just made my heart go bigger, and it was the best feeling in the world for me.
So where are the other you have Valley Wise, so where are the other chapters?
So we have one at Valley Wise Health, one at homeless shelters, and we have it in 3 states: California, Arizona, and Texas.
Wow.
And all around the world, even in the UK. So it's just everywhere.
Wow. Jovan, are you surprised at how this took off? 15,000 books in just a couple years.
Really surprised. Like, when I think about this, I'm speechless. I'm like, we have like over 20 kids that agreed to help us, and Loving Library has guided me to so many new friendships, and it's just changed my heart.
Wow. So you both love reading.
Yeah.
What was the last book you read that you loved?
Mine, Alley Cross.
Okay. Okay.
It's my favorite book of all time now.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, what did you love about it?
The mystery and comedy genre. So it's just like those are my two favorite genres combined, and it just keeps me thinking because I'm really curious. So like, even like my mom bought it for me on a Kindle, and I'm like, well, Mom, I finished this book, and she bought it for me, let's say 3 days ago, and 2 days ago I finished, and she's like, what? I spent $10 on that book.
I know the feeling. You know what I
Can't
mean?
keep up.
It is. Do you guys ever go to the library?
I'm going to tell the truth.
Okay, that's okay.
Not mostly,
Okay.
but like the thing is we have a Kindle, so it's just like our library. But when we go to school, I always like visit the library every day and get 3 books or something.
Totally.
And I think our house is a library because it's full of books.
I've
that
read
have been
every
donated
single
for
book.
Loving
Yeah.
Library. And so I kind of say that they're our test readers, and they read every book that's been donated.
Oh
and
my
then
gosh, really?
Yeah, almost every book that comes in,
Wow.
they're picking them up and reading them, and they're like, "This is a good book. I'm glad that we got this donated." So our house is full of books
I love it. Can I come to your house?
at any time. Anytime. They're
read
mostly
every
kids' books. If you're okay with that.
Jobin, what's your favorite book? What's the last book that you read that you loved?
Well, this was like 2 days ago. I haven't like loved a book since Percy Jackson or like that stuff, but Ally Cross was good. And I read this other book. I was just scrolling through my Kindle and I found it. It was called like Mythomaniac or something like that. It's like the true stories of myths. How like Hades was being like really funny and saying that like Zeus was a liar and that stuff.
So you like you had mentioned before the podcast you like the Greek mythology, but you both
And-
like comedy books though,
A
right?
lot, yeah.
What is it about comedy that you love so much?
Well, even in movies, like we adore that stuff, but like we love laughing. So
But
it's
yeah,
just
laughter's the best medicine.
yeah, it has a really good feeling in us. So pretty much, we just hope to get a few laughs out of a book.
You're sad.
Yeah.
Way to escape isolation.
Yeah, especially during COVID. I mean, I've always loved reading, and I read a lot more during COVID because we were so sort of locked up. Is that something you guys experienced as well?
Yeah, definitely. Like when as founding Loving Library, we had to read, but we didn't have to read, but it was one of my favorite things to do during isolation because we could not hang out with our friends, and I just grew to love reading, and now I can't put a book down, so I loved it at that isolation time.
At that time, my book was like beyond my bookshelf, and it was like filling my whole room. And like when I was in bed normally, when I was sleeping, I found like 3 books under my sheets. I was like, I'm laying on something very hard. I'm like, what?
That's only the true reader can understand that.
He's the one that like would take the flashlight and read till like midnight on a school night, and we then had to take. It was like a punishment. We had to take all the books because it was too much reading.
That's a good reason, a good way to get in trouble, though, right?
Yes, that's the best way.
Do you
my
guys?
fault.
Do you ever read the same books at the same time, or do you ever like pass books? You know, say, "Oh, I love this." Like as brothers, you do that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
we love Big Knee, and like we actually did Ally Cross. He read the first one, then I read the first one, then he read the second one, then I read the second one, and
I've finished the third one.
yeah,
so
and
soon
I'm
to read it.
starting this like financial book that he read, and then I'm starting Ally Cross, the third one again.
Yeah, since he's very smart and his vocabulary is like our levels is probably the same in vocabulary, so we pretty much read the same books.
So you're reading a finance book.
my dad gave me an offer, like a certain amount of money, if you read this book and you tell me
did?
all about the stock market.
Hey, I want that money. I'm reading it.
Yeah, we're trying to make them smarter about how they spend money.
Okay, well,
I want to get a
aware.
full-on scholarship. I'm not sharing the same dorm with someone.
hey, that is a very good goal to have because when I was 10, I was not thinking about that. The more you can read those financial books, the better because you don't always learn about that stuff in school.
No, absolutely.
So, is it a book geared for kids though?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
It's
really
like
cool.
it's called like how to turn $100 into $1 million.
Oh, So will you guys take notes and then pass them along to
Yeah,
me?
there's
Yeah.
also
Okay.
Like some
activities, and we
Yes.
do.
Like short-term goals, medium-term goals,
I
long-term goals.
actually wrote mine down, but my mom thought they were too big because they were like an ATV, Heelys,
He wanted to buy a
A
Lamborghini in
Lamborghini?
5 years, and he won't even have a driver's license. So
Lamborghini.
no, he's like, no,
Isn't that like $100,000 or something?
Yeah.
no, he's like, I want to get a full-on scholarship.
$1,000,000.
He's like, I want to get a full-on scholarship in 50 years for college, but I also want to buy a Lamborghini in 5 years.
Okay, well, maybe the book has
I'm
all
not
the
going to-
answers.
it's very entertaining for us to hear these like goals of theirs.
We'll,
and
we'll
how they
invite
do
you
the
back in a couple years, and we'll see how we're doing with the savings.
Lamborghini. Maybe I should consider a Porsche.
Porsche, yeah, you could maybe that too. Yeah, they're both expensive
Yeah.
cars.
Either one I'm fine with.
So you're talking about. So tell me more about Alley Cross, right? That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Because I've never heard of this. It's a series,
Yes,
right?
3
okay.
books.
And is it who's the main character? Like, what is sort of the story there?
So the main character is a kid named Ali Cross. His dad's a detective for the police agency, and recently in the first book, he was framed, and because he was trying to help someone, and who was sick, and the man stumbled down the porch, so they were suing him, so that he had to go to court and everything.
Wow.
And then his friend went missing, and then he found out his friend's dad has been like making him and like abusing him. And then in the second book, his friend got shot and then it's her friend that shot her on purpose because she like slipped the trigger or something like that.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's
I
kind
don't
of
know about the third book.
That's a
mystery.
lot. So it's a mystery, but is it funny too, or is it mostly?
Yeah, it's
okay.
funny.
Wow, because it sounds like a really serious book, but it's funny.
It's really funny.
It's like it kind of like knows kids because like it's like I just did my homework. Now I'm gonna play a quick video game on my computer. Oh, I got grounded. Let me just sneak out the front door real quickly.
but like
I'm not sure if I approve of this book.
you might not want to sneak out in downtown.
You
Oh,
guys
yeah,
are
and he really loves the police.
Okay.
So like he sneaks out every day in the third book to go get because his friend intercepted the police radio messages. So like whenever there's something bad going on, he gets the alert. So he goes every single day and it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. There's been a robbery at this
And
house.
he goes and does it.
wow. He sounds really busy.
And he even found a missing child.
Wow. Does he have any time to read, or does he not do any reading?
No, he reads.
he's-
Oh, he does read.
He reads a little bit. I gotta say, he's more of one of those kids that just like after they do homework, spend 3 hours on like Fortnite and something, and then do their detective thing.
Yeah. So tell me
kids.
about the books you have here.
So the Loving Library book?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So it's written by somebody named Amandeep S. Kochar.
I don't know how to pronounce that.
And it's not actually, the character is not actually me.
Okay.
It's part of a series called Jeet and Fudge. So I think Fudge is the dog.
No, I think. Wait.
Yeah, Fudge is the dog,
Yeah.
and Jeet is
Yeah.
a person. They're the same religion as us,
Okay.
which is Sikhism.
Fifth
And
part.
it says so all the all the money or all of it goes to Loving Library.
Oh, cool.
So it's like based on us, and like the main character Jeet, he goes around collecting books from neighbors and family members.
That's so
and
cool.
it was really nice because he just reached out to us and he was like, I would like to write a book for you guys. He's like, this is no money for him. He's just doing this out of the kindness of his heart.
Wow. What was it like for you to see you represented in a book like this?
It was the best feeling. Like, I know I keep saying that, but I loved it. Like, I read the book a lot. Like,
So yeah, when I was at my school, this kid walked up to me and he was like, "To my book buddy, I read your guys' book," and he was crying. He was like, "It's so good. My book buddy is so happy." I'm like, "You read it?" And then that inspired her and her book buddy, and they started actually like collecting books and that stuff.
Yeah, that's so cool. So what's a book buddy? Do you have book buddies at school?
Sometimes.
yeah,
Okay.
but like heading into middle school, it's a different school. So I was the youngest, but in elementary school, we did have book buddies.
Okay. Did that encourage more kids to read, you think?
Yeah,
So basically, how did it work?
we got paired up with somebody,
Okay.
and they usually like kindergarten or first grade, or like and we read to them like books of their choice, and we did activities with them.
And there was like something called reading helpers, where like a 5th grader would help a 4th grader do something and like read. Yeah, so
That's cool. Are you guys book buddies too? Do you ever?
We weren't buddies.
well, a 5th grader did help me like twice or 3 times, but that's it.
When did you fall in love with reading? Like, what are some of your earliest memories of books in your home?
Curious George. My first birthday party was based off Curious George. I was like, I'm a monkey. I was like, because I was like, I'm curious. I'm like, and I like monkeys. So I was like, this is the perfect book for me. And then like ever since, I've been screaming, looking for Curious George. I'm little, so like earliest like 1 year old.
Is it hard to find Curious George books?
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
So yeah, me, like, fall in love with reading. I can't remember since when I read, because I feel like I've been reading for like 100 years now. Like, I probably read as much as somebody would read in 100 years. So and I do remember my parents reading to me a lot, like every single night of the year.
Yeah. Do you guys write down all the books you read? Like, do you keep track of them or not really?
We read a book, put it back in the bookshelf. We go through the whole entire bookshelf. We read the book again. Then we put it in the bookshelf. We read it.
So you have a lot of books at your house. Some of them are donations. You guys read all of the books. Test read. Okay, test read most of them. Are most of them good? Like, do you have to do any quality control?
Yeah, we have to make sure like some are appropriate, some are like that stuff.
Okay.
So like we tell my mom. I tell my mom like, oh, this book is really good. I'm sure like, and then like 9 to 12 years would love it.
Or if it's like not so like more mature, I'm like, this book has a bad word. You probably don't want to donate this to like. You probably want to donate this to older kids or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we even have activity books. I'm so sad because we can't do the activity books.
We check them out and look at them to see.
Yeah.
And then there's also like grateful journals where you write down, or like journals where you write down everything that you do.
You're grateful for, which always just makes you feel better.
That is
in
true.
life. Like just focusing on what you have.
Yeah, that is true. That's something we could definitely all take away. I mean, they say like having a gratitude journal is so beneficial for your mental health. The key is just doing it, you know, writing in it every day.
Every day. We have
Every
three things
single
that
day.
Three
Okay.
things that we're grateful for,
I
and
do
we
a
write them in the
drawing
journal.
too.
That's perfect.
Yeah, me and my brother.
You know, we try to share that with the other kids that we're helping, because we're always no matter how bad things are, you always have something that you should be grateful for. Whether it's
I made these like frames and I like put little letters on them, and then I was like, and I sold them to my friends, and I was like, I'm gonna have some profits go to Loving Library. So yeah.
Cool. What does the future hold for Loving Library? Do you want to expand even more and have more chapters?
We want to have. I want to have for this 2025 at least 2 more countries, 8 more states. I know we're having. I have a lot of goals, and about 10 more ambassadors and like 15 chapters.
Okay.
So we're starting a chapter on the East Coast of the United States, and for my goals, I would like to have chapters, like more like in one in every continent except Antarctica, because nobody lives there
unless there's a penguin
Scientist.
who likes to read.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like chapters in every continent, and I would like to do a couple more states. But where I think of this in 2025, we're doing a lot of chapters.
Okay.
So I think we're gonna get like chapters all over the world. Like, you always want to have bigger goals than smaller goals.
Yeah. What was it like for you as a mom when he came to you with this idea in 2020?
It was his birthday, right? And normally kids on their birthdays want gifts. And so I thought it was an incredible show, just how incredible and how big his heart and his compassion and actually his empathy was for others to want to give back on his birthday. And so in our faith, Sikhism, there is something that we learn It's called SEVA, which is called Selfless Service. And it's something that it was ingrained in me as a young child, and community service was something that we did when we were little, and it's something that I tried to do with the boys since they were able to walk, even in giving back to others and helping others. And so it was really cool for them to understand that concept and see an opportunity to be a part of a solution during this time that everyone felt very lonely and helpless.
It's grown to, as we mentioned, 15,000 book donations. Did you ever think it would get to this point? And they have big goals, as we just heard.
No, I thought it was going to be small, but I'm actually overjoyed that is this big. I thought it would be 8,000. We're 7,000 over my goal, so I'm really happy.
I actually didn't even expect it to go beyond that one chapter. We didn't even call it chapter. We were just trying to help our community, right, that we saw suffering. It wasn't really even supposed to turn into a nonprofit. It wasn't until after we heard other kids say that we want to help our community with books. And I felt like it was an opportunity to really teach about philanthropy and community service to kids at a young age. So it has grown beyond my wildest dreams. I don't know what to expect because I didn't think we'd even get here. But it's really, really amazing to be able to work with the next generation of kids and teach them how to be kind and to kind of put yourself in somebody else's shoes.
What would you tell parents who are trying to get their kids interested in reading, and not more importantly, because reading is important, but also just getting involved in the community from a young age?
Yeah, I think it's really important to know that you can help at any age. There really isn't a limitation. If your child's even 2 or 3 years old, we start with letting our young toddlers put stamps in books. Each book that we have has a loving library stamp, so the other child that receives it knows that there's somebody out there that loves them and cares for them. So I think there's opportunities for no matter how old your child is, for them to participate. And oftentimes when we think about giving back as adults, we think about giving money, but equally and sometimes even more important is giving time. And I think introducing that concept to your children at a young age, and even introducing reading. I was reading to the boys when they were in my stomach, right? And that's why they don't even remember when they started reading, because it's just been a part of our lives. And same with community service. It's just ingrained as a value in our life now, and we can't imagine not doing it because it's just who we are, and it's part of our family values.
Yeah.
So,
So many.
I was after I finished the Ally Cross book. It's written by James Patterson. So it was a quote by him. It said, "Everybody loves reading at least one book." So if people can't find if you can't after 3 or 4 chapters, if you don't like the book, I recommend switching, because you're not gonna finish it fast. It would take like a couple of months for you to finish, maybe in 100-page book if you don't like it. But if you switch to a 200-page book that you love, then you will finish it within a week. So
And for all the kids, I know there's a lot of kids at school that hate reading. They despise it. Trust me, read a book you love. It's let's say you're doing reading Harry Potter. You feel like you're at Hogwarts. You feel like you're just a spectator at a sports game watching them. You're just half the times my mom's yelling my name and I'm glued to a book. She comes in, she's like, "Are you awake?" I'm like, "Yes."
yes.
You become engrossed.
What do you think is the secret to having something like this grow? From this one chapter to starting with one book to 15,000 books. What do you think has been the secret to your success?
Kindness.
Yeah. Basically what he said. So every time I just seeing the patients, how they react to getting the books, and just knowing that people are getting helped by what I'm doing and what other ambassadors are doing. And it just makes my heart grow bigger every single time, one book at a time.
Do you have anything else you guys want to add, or anything you want to say if maybe someone's listening to this and they're thinking, hey, I want to get involved, I want to donate?
Well, yeah, as my mom said earlier, our website is thelovinglibrary.org. And if anybody wants to help, then the more ambassadors, the better.
Yeah, we're always looking for other kids who want to help their community. So if you're if you love reading and you want to share that with another kid who doesn't have books.
Always, we can go beyond Arizona. It's just not just Arizona.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And just behind the scenes, I mean, how many people are part of the nonprofit at this point? Like, how big is sort of this effort?
Yeah, we're really grassroots still. I am the only full-time employee. I'm not even full-time. I'm probably like 3/4 time. But if you can imagine, we have like a whole army of volunteers who are passionate about reading and sharing that love of reading, but also about teaching our kids about philanthropy and community service. So we have about an army of like 10 volunteers, including our board members, who are working on this like all the time.
If anyone volunteer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
Inclusivity is one of our values, regardless of age,
Okay.
regardless of any, anything
Regardless
really.
of gender,
Yeah.
regardless of anything.
Physical disabilities, we're really inclusive because I think we all know what it feels like to not be able to do something. And so we try to make sure that if you want to help, there's an opportunity for you to be a part of this.
Yeah. Just make time, read books. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you guys so much. Before we go, the last thing I'll ask, because I always like to ask people this, you kind of have already talked about your favorite books, but any other like book recommendations or books that you love that you would recommend to our readers, our listeners?
I recommend Harry Potter. If you're like in that age, like I would say, when you start actually understanding it,
Like,
like
I'm still scared of Harry Potter.
like like I want to say 9+. But, like I read some of it, yeah, like at 10 I think, and I didn't really understand all of it. But then I stopped on the 4th book, and I continued again like when I was like 11, and then I understood it again. So it's better, and you just if you don't in the book, if you just root for the character, like you want something good to happen to them, and yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say Percy Jackson. It looks like a big, big, fat book. And I was like, I do not want to read this. I'm like, and my mom's like, just try, because Nate read the first book. And I was like, okay, fine. Page 1 was a little boring. Page 2, but like when you pass chapter 1, I was like glued to the book. Not only did I read like the first book, I read every single book in the series. And my brother was like, he was like, so we were like always debating Percy Jackson, Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, Harry Potter.
Is there a winner there, or they or equally as good?
He read the first book of Harry Potter. I read the first book of Percy Jackson. Did you read the first book?
I read all the books. I tried to, but I screamed in the middle of it, so that was.
I think you read the first book.
Yeah, but I screamed too much. I decided no.
It is scary. I think I read the first one when I was probably like, I think when it came out, so I was like probably 10 or I don't remember. But then I read the last book of Harry Potter when I was a senior in college, and that was when it came out, and that was 17 years ago. Isn't that crazy?
I must be. I don't even want to think about
I
how old
know.
I was because I
And
was
you know, they
older.
said Harry Potter turned 44 recently.
Yeah, and there's like a book about his kids called The Cursed Child. He
Yeah.
and
Oh, I didn't know that,
Hermione got married, apparently.
I don't need to know this.
No,
Ron
Hermione.
and Hermione.
Ron, then who did?
I think
it's
that.
Ron's sister.
Ron's sister.
Oh,
yeah.
that's right. I think Hermione and Ron got married.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay,
they,
that's
and they
what I
had
thought.
like kids, and it's about the
Okay.
kids. One joins, I
think it's
think.
Ginny.
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 Yeah.
One joins Slytherin, and it's like legacy, and the whole family gets mad at him because that's where Voldemort went. And
We could talk. We could do a whole nother one about it.
Yeah, it's like a foreign language. to me.
I
did
made
not read it.
I made Joven watch all the Harry Potter movies. But so now he's gonna make me watch all the Percy Jackson movies.
I am.
It's good because they
Vengeance.
introduce each other to new books and new genres that they may not be aware of. And so it's nice that they have that in common, that they like to read, but not the type of books.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you're listening,
you for
you're
having
interested in Loving Library, we'll put that information on our website. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.